Over here we have Porcher Island, and up along Porcher Island is one spot where we traditionally harvest a lot of our foods, which is the inlet, Porcher Inlet. And then out this way is the Hecate Straits. My English name is John Lewis. My Indian name is Wahye Wee Mediek, and I am from the Wolf Clan, from the Gitxaała Nation. There are 4 clans here in Gitxaała. There's the Lakkibu, which is the wolf, the Ganhada, which is the raven, the Lakskiik, which is the eagle, and the Gishpudwada, who are the killer whale clans. Resource stewardship is what it is. All the resources that you can think of were harvested from it. This is where our people sustained themselves for thousands and thousands of years, and the resources sustained our people. Our people have known that the animals such as the whales, the birds, the spiders, everything on this earth has communication, and our people know that. That's part of one of the messages we're trying to pass on in terms of traditional ecological knowledge, is that us as First Nations do know a lot about what scientists today are just discovering within the last 25 years, 50 years. And that knowledge has always been here in North America. All they had to do was make proper contact with First Nations, go through the proper protocols with First Nations. That instills trust amongst the two parties. Trust, respect, and honor. And then you can bridge the gaps between the two cultures.
My name is Caroline Butler, and I'm a graduate student in anthropology at the University of British Columbia. And I've been working as a researcher on the Forest for the Future Traditional Ecological Knowledge Project with Charles Menzies from UBC and the Gitxaała Nation.
Samuel Johnson Dwyer Lewis, Ohio. At a Gishpudwada. Dipdeo. At a Nawahyo. Kolonachnach de Wahyo.
My name is Raven McMahon. I come from the Ganhada tribe here in Gitxaała. I live in the village. I'm 22 years old, and I'm working with Sam on a research project.
Can you tell us a little bit about when you were commercial fishing with your husband?
We have a team interview process where myself and a community researcher visit the homes of community members who we're going to interview. We sit and visit them, we bring them a small gift, and we talk to them about the resources that they've harvested in their lifetime that their parents had, their grandparents. We ask them about the links between these resources. It changes over time, and the things they know about their land and their territories.
It was kind of hard to talk to our elders about that for a while, because we were talking about the names of all species, the animals around our community. They didn't really want to give information out for a while.
In the past, there are injustices that need to be rectified that I see. And those injustices come from non-First Nations coming to the Gitxaała Nation and extracting information from our people, and then going out into the territory for financial gain on those resources and the information that they've collected. There's numerous examples out there. The abalone is just one of those examples. We had government people come here and ask our people, where are all the abalone beds here? The information was given out of the graciousness of our heart, but it turned right around on us. The next thing you know, there were licenses issued to non-First Nations. And those non-First Nation license holders went out and harvested all the abalone that were in our area. And today there's now a moratorium on abalone harvesting. And that's been in place for approximately 10 or more years.
The consent form here. which I'm going to read to you and Sam is going to translate, about the protocol for the project. So the study procedure is that you'll be asked to describe how you use local resources and about local resource management. And if you agree, the conversation will be tape recorded.
It tells them what the survey is all about, and it tells them what they're going to be doing with the information, where it's going to be stored, and who will have access to it and who can't have access to it, and that it won't be mismanaged, like I guess past and previous incidents before, and that telling them that this is different and it's okay.
The original tapes and copies of all transcripts and data will be stored in the Gitxaała band office.
Gonna record him.
One of the larger questions that I had asked Charles when we were sitting down in the band office was what was going to happen to the information once Charles has passed on, because there's numerous institutions throughout the world that have First Nations documents, and yet that information belongs to the First Nations.
And put it right between.
Copyrights, patents, and trademarks. Those are European ways, and yet we've had those systems as traditional knowledge for thousands and thousands of years that have been implemented within our clan system and within our societies already. So what Charles and I did was we agreed through this letter of intent that the information gathered here would, once the research project was done, the information would come back to the community, and that Charles and the research team would be the only other ones privileged to that information, and Gitxaała members would also be privileged to that information as per our protocols.
I think that's really nice thing that's come to our community, and especially if the children of Gitxaała is going to benefit on it. It's just beautiful. I like it. And, I'd hope this will go on until, you know, we get all the information.
I think that having a community researcher sets the tone and the level of comfort with First Nations. Having one of their own people there to actually that knows the language even sets more comfort to the table when the interview process is happening.
Okay. She mentioned that her and her husband went out to pick heron eggs too, and everything they did.
A person like Sam Lewis, who is well versed in both our language and the English language, he can do a lot of translating for the researcher and the community researcher itself.
And the branches?
Yeah, that's right. They solved that down too.
The community researcher is much more familiar with the resources and the territories and the kind of issues that we're asking people about. And so they're able to facilitate the interview in that way by asking more detailed questions at an earlier point than I'd be able to ask them. Lastly, I think the community-based researcher is more familiar with protocol and about issues around information. So there's been several times where Sam has turned to me and said, that's not an appropriate question, or that's not who you should be asking that question to. And those things are extremely important. I can't emphasize enough how much of a difference that makes in the research process in terms of making the participants more comfortable and then also myself more comfortable.
I'll sit there and then I'll start to explain, and I don't know what it is, but in a way I guess I can make them feel comfortable. I'll talk to them and then I'll just push everything away for a while and I'll start to talk, and then they'll start to talk to me, and then they're all okay, and then they want to do it.
Every time I talk to our elders, I'd speak my language to them and, you know, tell them we like to come and visit them, and they'd be all ready by the time we come along anyway. Yeah.
When I first got hired for this, I didn't expect it to be the way it is now, because, you know, usually you'll do your job and that's it. But this, it's different. geboren. And is there...
Cockles?
Yeah, cockles.
She is
Is there a
learning
difference between the...
off this too, and some of our Smileach words, and she started saying them too while we were going through it.
The cockles, you use a rake, like a
Luan
garden
Boro.
rake.
Well, I'm a yeah, honey go that time, getting. I don't know, Lao Goro, Goro. I'm a yeah, honey go. The Shumachs. Shuk of a school could have a the Beni go what. The Mwak can I ailum. Honey, Lualum to Max, so well to Kutunum. The Hanoi of a school. Scudum Hanoi.
Well, I strongly believe that the benefits that Gitxaała students can gain from this project is that the students will be able to read in a few thousand years down the road how we survived all these millennia throughout this land, basically on the same laws of the resources sustaining us and us sustaining the resources. I also strongly believe that traditional ecological knowledge can be used as a tool in treaty negotiations. When you look at treaty negotiations today, there needs to be a large tool bag and resources that we need to take from. And traditional ecological knowledge can be one of those tools, being that traditional ecological knowledge will demonstrate to the two levels of government that we as a nation continue to manage our resources at a regional level. Today, our resources are still managed out of Ottawa, but that level of management is not working. It hasn't been working for 100 years now. Ottawa and British Columbia have been in control of the resource management for about 100 years now, and we can see what's happened to the resources in the last 100 years. There's been a rapid decline in all the resources in the seas and on the land, and that management needs to be put back at a regional level or at the nation level amongst First Nations. And traditional ecological knowledge can be presented to the two levels of government to say that yes, we are still continuing to manage the resources today the way we see best fit for the resources. A brief message to the world that we as the Gitxaała nation, in our language, we would say to anyone, whether it was in 1870 or when the European contact first came here, or whether it's today, we would say to anyone, to any other First Nation, Gitxaała nation, Noel de lach Yub agwa. Gitxaała nation, Noel de llani go lach Yub. Gitxaała no nation, Noel de jim ax agwa. Gitxaała nation, llani go jim ax. Gitxaała nation Noel de llani go jim ax.